a lot of people's fear, or maybe the stigma that goes with some sort of supplements, is that, well, number one, there's a ton of them. You never know which ones to buy. But also, do they really work? We don't know what's in them. I mean, you're reading what's in it. But, like, you know, unless you're somebody that really spends time maybe Googling each one, we don't really know. You know, I don't know what half those things do. And so what is the difference between going in and, like, when I went to my doctor, to go back to my story, he said I had a bunch of hormonal issues, something wrong with my cortisol. I don't know. Gave me, you know, some pills, gave me some shots, gave me a testosterone pellet or something. And, you know, it worked to some degree, I guess. But, you know, I was in San Francisco. It was an hour and a half drive to get there. I never went back. So I took the stuff once, and eventually it all worked out. But, you know, he didn't give me any options for things like this. So what would you say is the difference?
Well, it's, first of all, who you're talking to. So, like, a traditional, like, gyno or Western medicine doctor is not going to really talk to you about supplements.
Yeah.
They're just not. Their nutrition education in general is like 6 hours.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
So you have to go to somebody who this is all they do. So
Yeah.
whether you're only trying to focus on nutrition, then you go to a nutritionist, you go to a holistic nutritionist who's going to talk to you only about food, and they've done a 2-year course to get certified to talk to you about that, as opposed to a doctor who, of course, is specialized in medicine. It's just a completely different avenue, and it's all about what works for you. I mean, if that works for you, go for it, right?
Well, maybe it's about what works for you, but also I think it's about, a lot of people don't know the difference, right? Or they don't know what they're asking for. So if you feel sick, you go to a doctor because you don't know where else you're going, right? Or that's what's, you know, your insurance pays for. And they say, you know, they get all your symptoms and they're like, well, you don't have a bacterial infection, but I can give you an antibiotic. You know, I think a majority of people just are like, oh, okay. You know, so I kind of want to get to the idea of, like, maybe there are other options. And
there absolutely are other options, but you have to be willing to first search them out. Second, learn about them yourself, because nobody else is going to teach you.
Okay, so education
but
is
that's bringing
imperative.
wellness into your own hands. If you really want to get well and you don't want to just take a pill and you want it to be sustainable, I mean, there's a certain amount of power that comes in that, but you also have to be willing to do it.
Yes.
Right? It takes work. It's hard work. I could have easily just had my uterus taken out, and it would have been a quick fix.
Right.
But I also didn't want that, and I wasn't willing to do that.
So you educated yourself and you found
100%.
other
Yeah,
ways.
because it didn't feel in alignment to me.
Yeah.
And I have the power to choose what happens to my body.
Of course.
So then, you know, you just need to do what feels right for you.
Right.
So there are lots of options, you know, naturopaths, nutritionists. There's tons of options. So what we aim to create is this space where you can learn great factual information. You can explore supplements that we have to offer. And it's not just supplements either. You know, we have this entire trusted brand marketplace. Like you said, you don't know what's in stuff.
Right.
100% you don't. You can buy a vitamin C by, like, a no-name brand on Amazon, and you can send it off for testing, and there's, like, no vitamin C in it.
Right. So I think that's really important for our listeners to hear. Like, there are a ton of options. You know, you go into CVS, there's rows of options of supplements, vitamins, pills, and, you know, you think you need vitamin D, B, whatever it is, and you just grab these you know, containers, and, you know, you at the end of the day, you can have 7 in your cart, and then you're taking all these different pills and you don't even really know why. It's just that somebody recommended it. So I want to finish going through, like, what actually, first, to finish that thought, like, what are the main things, and maybe it's things that you have, that people need to take every day? Because, again, I think that we've been educated, you know, the average American has been educated that you take a multivitamin and then maybe you take a few other things if you're older, if you're going through menopause, or if you're trying to have a baby. There's other different ways. So talk to me about what you think is important to be taking.
I can tell you what I take, because that's what's important to me. So everybody, of course, is different. What you take, what your goals are, what you're looking to deal with within your body. Maybe you're very tired all the time. Maybe you have brain fog all the time. Like, everybody's goal is different. For me personally, I know you have taken the Bison.
I love it.
You're liking it. Yeah. I'm so happy about that. So this one is one of our favorite best-selling products. We have this one is the liver. We also have a trifecta, which I think is in this.
Yep. Beautiful box that it comes in.
Yes, this is the one you've been taking,
yes.
right?
And so first of all, explain the difference.
Okay, so the trifecta is kidney, liver, and heart. You take 6 capsules. It's just the organs.
Okay.
That's it.
Why are organs important?
Organs are important. It's that ancestral nutrition thing. So the easiest way to do this is to start with a beef liver.
Okay.
in terms of the education process, because some people are familiar with beef liver.
Yep.
So I personally was put on beef liver by my naturopath to deal with the ferritin issue that I
Okay.
told you about.
Mm-hmm.
Low iron, very tired, hormonal imbalance. Liver is very good for hormone balance, collagen support, which is not just about collagen, right?
Yeah.
Like we think about, right? That's joints too.
Okay.
Hair, skin, nails, obviously, as well.
Yep.
And there's extreme hormonal support that comes from liver. So I took that until we found this company that creates this product for us.
Okay.
And it's a family business. And it is bison liver. Now, the reason that's better is because a cow that has an organic certification
Can still get.
can still get up to 17 vaccinations.
Yeah, I did know that. That's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
A bison cannot. So the bison have no GMOs, no antibiotics, no hormones, no steroids, no vaccines.
Right.
They're completely clean. They're just like living their life on the prairie
Yeah.
until they're not. And the entire animal is used. And then the organs are harvested in obviously a very like humane and safe way. And it creates these amazing supplements that I have taken them side by side because I was so curious. Like, is this really great? No, it is great. It's like supercharged, clean energy, no brain fog,
Yeah.
hormonal support. I have the easiest periods I've ever had in my life. They're
So-
like 3 days and there's no cramping.
Yeah. So
It's crazy.
I've taken it for not very long yet, but I will tell you that maybe, I don't know, 3, 4. Well, first of all, let me start with the capsules.
Yeah.
What I was impressed about is that you take like 6, I take 6,
Yeah.
and they're small. So sometimes when you're given these capsules, they're big, it's hard to swallow. They were super easy. That was the
Super
first
easy.
thing I noticed about it. Then like, 3 days in, I really I was like, wait a minute, I'm actually feeling different. So
Yes.
I have a hard time sleeping. I noticed that I felt like I could fall asleep easier, and I felt like I was having some more energy. I get really tired around like 4 or 5 o'clock, and like could literally fall asleep sometimes, and feel like I want to go to sleep for the night because I'm so tired. And like I'll get through it, and then for some reason I'm up till like 1 or 2 in the morning. It's terrible. So in the last like 3 days, I will tell you, like I haven't had that, and I'm really busy and I'm doing a lot of things, and I have like hay fever and like just all these things that normally are going on with me,
Yeah.
and I haven't felt that. And
I will say I have had no hay fever or allergy symptoms at all
Yeah.
this year, and I'm really bad with that normally.
Right. And I was just saying, when I was in here a week ago, my eyes were running, my nose was, it was like a thing. So I believe that it is from that because it's the only thing that I'm doing differently. And I think that's kind of amazing. So I can't
No,
wait
it is amazing.
I can't wait to see, having used it now for, after I get in a couple weeks into it,
Yes.
what I really feel. And I've been telling people about it, and they're like, oh, wow, that's interesting.
And
But
it
no one
seems
knows.
so random. No, nobody knows. And so I'm
Yeah.
just here shouting from the rooftops like, oh my God, please
Yes.
take bison. It will change your life.
It is a different level of communication because people are like, wait a minute, I've never heard that.
Totally.
Maybe I've had a bison burger once in a while.
Yeah.
Like that's how bison will come up in a conversation. But they're like, but what does that do?
Yes. And
So-
the answer is it does kind of everything depending on what your personal vulnerabilities and weaknesses are within your body.
Yes.
So everybody notices something different.
Mhm.
I have a friend who's taken the trifecta, and she's perimenopausal.
Okay. Which I am
And
too. Yeah.
Her cycles were 24 days, an entire cycle. That's pretty short.
Yeah.
So she's like having a lot of periods.
Wow.
And she took it for a month, and her cycle lengthened to a full 28 days.
Okay.
So she's like, okay, if this keeps going for me, that's 2 less periods this year.
Yeah.
That's a really massive shift.
Yeah. That's great.
That's huge. That's huge
Right.
for everything, for the entire hormonal cycle that we go through. It's very taxing on your body.
Yeah.
It really is. And that's something that we talk a lot about is living with your cycle, being in
Mm-hmm.
tune with your cycle. We have such a go. Well, I mean, our world was set up for men, right?
Yeah.
The men's testosterone cycle goes throughout the 24-hour period
Mm-hmm.
with the peak in the morning, and then it goes up to lunchtime, and then it starts to taper off in the evening.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Ours is 28 days long. It takes 28 days to go, or longer, or
Mm-hmm.
shorter, depending on the woman, right? Everybody's different, to go through that entire cycle.
Mm.
So we have, the peak after, post period, you go up,
Mhm.
and then you ovulate, and then you start to come back down again.
Right.
So if you can intentionally know that about your body, right? It all happens to all of us.
Right.
People aren't talking about it. We're not being educated
Yeah.
about it the
well,
way
that
that
was
we
educational
were
because I didn't know that. Yeah.
when our grandmothers or possibly great grandmothers were, teaching us about these things. We haven't been taught.
Yeah.
And then you can plan. Hey, I'm like in my follicular phase. I feel like I could climb a mountain. I could run a marathon.
Right.
So I'm going to plan all of my major projects for these 2 weeks of my cycle.
Oh,
and then
genius.
after, when I know I'm tired and I just want to be like a blanket burrito on the couch and I just want to eat all the snacks, then I'm going to be intentionally having self-care appointments, going to the spa, getting my nails done, doing things that are for me, because I know that that's what my body needs, because I need to slow down during